So if ever you get the news that Imran Hussein blew up the moon, you'll understand the background. They're holding it. They have not as yet used it. But the more I talk about it, the less likely that they can use it. My passport, therefore my identity. Why so many Saudis? It's suspicious. And why these middle-of-the-road Saudis? The answer is because Saudi Arabia, the government of Saudi Arabia, has a friendly relationship with the United States. In fact, there is something common between the state of Saudi Arabia and the state of Israel which would surprise you. They are sisters. The same forces who work for the establishment of the state of Israel are the same forces who work for the establishment of the state of Saudi Arabia. The same forces who have kept Israel alive today and guaranteed Israel's security are the same forces who have kept Saudi Arabia alive today and has guaranteed Saudi Arabia's security. And when the state of Israel is to be destroyed, Saudi Arabia also goes down into the garbage bin. They're sisters. But at the moment, the friendly relations and the good press which Saudi Arabia receives in the media in the United States of America, and the fraternal relations between the government of Saudi Arabia and the government of the United States stands in the way of those who attacked America on September the 11th. In what way? I said to you last time I was here that the United States cannot attack Iraq until a particular moment arrives. And I gave you some homework. I ask you to think. Iraq does not pose any threat to the United States. It does not pose any threat to the state of Israel. The Israelis have to be digging and digging and digging for a strategy to be able to make Iraq look threatening. So now they're coming up with all kind of fancy theories about biological weapons and weapons of mass destruction and so on. It's just dust in the eye. Well, and if Israel does not pose any threat, why all of this hullabaloo, all of this shouting from the mountain tops about attacking Iraq? And who, in military strategy, which commander-in-chief, which country which is about to wage war, which country will announce for 1 year in advance, 2 years in advance, we're going to be attacking you? And then publish in the newspapers all kinds of alternative strategies, how to attack. It sounds suspicious. Sounds like the attack on Iraq is not for military purposes. Sounds like the attack on Iraq is for political purposes, so that political dividends might accrue from it. What are those political dividends? That is at the heart of the beginning of my talk tonight. I do not want to return to the lecture I gave last year, in which I began with the ruling state of Britain and identified that with the hadith, a day like a year. The hadith of Tamim ad-Dari. You shaking your heads? Imam? I'm going to have to repeat that lecture now? Yeah? A day like a year? Okay, if you didn't hear that lecture, we don't have the time tonight to repeat it, so the tape recording is downstairs. Abu Rahman has it downstairs. The hadith is a day like a year, a day like a month, a day like a week when Dajjal is released, okay? And we identify the island of Britain with a day like a year, and how did we arrive at that? We're not going to do that tonight. because we did that already. And then a day like a year ends and it is followed by a day like a month, and one ruling state gave way to another. Britain is no longer the ruling state in the world. The United States of America now becomes the ruling state in the world. And in the same way that there was this mysterious, puzzling, baffling relationship between the island of Britain and the Holy Land, starting from the Balfour Declaration, so too now you have this mysterious, mystifying, baffling relationship between the United States of America and the State of Israel, which was so clearly apparent in Durban. World Conference on Racism and Racial Development, Racial Discrimination, when Israel walked out of the conference because the whole world combined to condemn Israel for its atrocities on the Palestinian people. Guess who walked out with Israel, holding on to Israel's coat's tail? Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam. So this puzzling, mystifying relationship between the second ruling state and Israel. The first ruling state in Israel, Britain and Israel. The second ruling state, the United States and Israel, is explained by a day like a month. And then we said that a day which is like a month is now coming to an end. And the September 11 attack on America is in many respects a parallel to another attack which had occurred many years earlier. There's a parallel between the two. That one was in the summer of 1914, okay? The assassination of the Grand Duke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo. And that attack, that act of terrorism, launched the First World War, the big war. Similarly, September the 11th, the same forces at work in the summer of 1914 are the same forces now at work, September the 11th. With that attack in Sarajevo, Britain, which was the ruling state in the world, now during the First World War has to yield to another ruling state, namely the United States of America. If you don't understand, go and read your history. Now with September the 11th, the attack is now on the United States to bring down the United States as the ruling state in the world. But in the process of bringing it down, the United States have some very important work to do for Israel. I can identify tonight two very important things that the United States has to do for Israel. There are many more, but there's no need to do more than simply two. In order for Israel to succeed the United States as a ruling state in the world, not only must the US economy collapse and the US dollar collapse, and when the US dollar collapses, it brings down the whole world of paper money with it. And if you don't believe me, just wait. Just wait. This is going to be the topic, Black Town, Wednesday night. Do please come on Wednesday night, because that is the most important lecture of all. Islam and the international monetary system. Please come on Wednesday night for that lecture.